I'm going to show you how I created this image. Many times I'll work on something and I'm unsure what exactly I'm going to do, so I won't hit record. So that was the case in this. Now, this particular image, this beautiful baby, here's the original image. She just was not sleeping. She just wasn't having it. And it was towards the end and I was trying to kind of curl her up in this mesh wrap. Now, I knew that I wanted to do something with this image, but I wasn't quite sure what to do. So I then edited in Evoto. So this is the edited image where you can see her skin is all clear. Okay, so now once I did that, then I decided to go into Midjourney and see what I could come up with. So I wrote a top-down lay-flat Christmas tree decorated with candy canes and soft toys. In the middle is a newborn baby curled up in a bowl. And I did 16:9 because I like things horizontal, but I don't like how Midjourney cut off the top and cut off the bottom. So the first thing I needed to do was upscale it. So I brought it into Topaz Photo AI, and that's where I upscaled the image, and you can see it made it much, much bigger. If we look at the original image, it was only 1.9. By upscaling it into Topaz, it brings it up to 117 meg files. So that's what's great about upscaling in Topaz Photo AI. If you upscale it in Midjourney, it will not give you that big of a file. Okay, so then we bring it over here. Now, the lighting on this image was opposite of my image. The shadow is on this side. My image, the shadow is on this side. So I had to flip the image. And I ended up removing the middle elements. So if we kind of take all this out, I ended up just removing everything, because if we look at this image, there was a bowl. So I first removed the baby, and then when I expanded it, it added all sorts of things. So I just kept kind of replacing and fine tuning. And how I added the top and the bottom by just using AI Generative Expand. So how you do that is if we pull in, let's just pull in this original image. And all I'm doing is I'll just size it here to here and then do Generative Expand and let Photoshop kind of do its thing. I think that the AI in Photoshop is definitely better than it was a year and a half ago, for sure. I'm 2 years in my AI journey now, and I'm constantly learning every day. So you can see that it added more, and I had to keep still doing the bottom. So I just kept expanding down and then up. And, you can do this left, right. There's many different ways that you can do this, but I thought it did a pretty good job of adding a top and a bottom as I need it. So you can see here, it gives us other versions, and then you can kind of fine tune it. As far as removing the baby, all I'll usually do is just kind of lasso and do delete and fill selection. That'll usually take the baby away, and then I'll circle again and I'll right click and I'll just do generative fill, and then it'll kind of fill it back in. So it's a process of just kind of removing the unwanted items that I want and then putting it back in. You definitely want to kind of fine tune the AI image. You want to first make it high res, then fine tune it, then work on your composites. Okay, so then I ended up adding the baby in, but you'll see that when I added her in, it just didn't look like anything, right? So I thought, okay, what if I put a bowl in there? So I put a bowl in there, and then I just removed the contents of the bowl, and then ended up making it a clipping mask and dropping baby back in. Now, if you notice, she looks much different than the original image. The original image, she had a, let's see if I can pull it up. The original image, she had, let me go back to this. She was a hanging pose, right? So if we go back up here, she was hanging. So I adjusted the brightness and the contrast, flattened the image, adjusted the curves, and then I ended up just using generative fill and just kind of going through and kind of shaping this and just kind of working my way through until I felt like it had an image that made sense, okay? And then I go back in here and I brought her in. Let's go back to that image, and then I ended up bringing her here. Now, once I did all of that, I felt like it was a little plain, the image. I liked it, but then I thought, what if I added a little grunge to it? I think I like both. So I went back into Discord and I asked for a grungy texture to use an overlay. I ended up liking this one. And then I brought it into Photoshop, and you can see that I took the opacity down to about 27%. And I like it. I can't decide which final image I like, with the grunge or without, maybe without. But of course, it gives us lots of options. The total time in doing this image was about 15 minutes. I have a client coming in for a session, and I had about 15 minutes while I was culling through images to see if I could do something creative. That's why I love AI. I don't think it's meant to replace what we're doing as photographers, but I think that it allows us to just take our creativity to a whole other level. I teach. You can go to the AIcreativecollective.com. There's tons and tons of videos on the inside that show you many different processes and how I edit. So take a look at the AI Creative Collective. If AI is something you're interested in learning, I beg you to check it out. I'm Brandt, and hope this was helpful in just allowing you to see what's capable with AI.